let's get into the latest episode of Doctor Who, Season 11, Episode 8, The Witchfinders. Please forgive me because I have a very stuffy nose. Apparently I'm coming down with something, but I still wanted to bring you guys the content, so hopefully I can make it through this without dying. Now, I have to be very, very honest. Despite everything, when I started watching this episode, I tried my best to keep an open mind. I tried my best not to judge this episode harshly before I even watched it, based on all the other episodes, or at least the majority of them. I could not help thinking about witches and the persecution of females, and wondering whether or not they were going to use this opportunity to show forth the patriarchy of the evil males. But I pushed all that aside, and I was very pleased to see that the person persecuting the females, or the people who were being accused of witchery, was a female. Okay, at least. This episode is probably based on The Witch Hunters. It's a novel based on the first Doctor and his adventure with his companion set in the 17th century during the Salem witch trials. The setting takes place in Lancashire during the 1600s. When the Doctor and her three companions get there, they realize they're right in the middle of the Bilehurst Crag witch trials. Now I'm on the edge of my seat. Now I'm really, really interested. This woman is being accused of witchcraft, and the horrible thing is if they put her in the water and dunk her in there for quite a while and she dies, that means she was innocent. But if she lives, she's a witch and she has to die anyway. Like, what? Becca Savage, of course, is overseeing all of this. But what's really hilarious and a little bit corny is when King James comes into the scene. My colleague actually hated King James in this episode, but he was actually really interesting. I can't help but like him because he's so corny. It's like this parody of some kind of badly acted Shakespearean Broadway thing. I don't know. It was just really corny, and his character and his mannerisms just made me like him, especially the way he talked to Tosin.
Before me, God's chosen ruler and Satan's greatest foe.
He's so extra, but his presence there actually makes this episode feel a little bit like Doctor Who. So by this time, I am actually enjoying myself and looking forward to where this is going. And then we come to this part to ruin it all. And I thought when they just mentioned this one in just in one instance, it wouldn't be so bad, because back then, women were supposed to be submissive to men. It is what it is. Fine. King James laughs, and rightly so, because, of course, a woman in that time could never be the general. He wasn't being mean, per se. He was just saying what was the natural position of women versus men. It is what it is. So Doctor Who, right here, feels as though she's been wronged and treated unfairly, and okay, fine, we get it. She's uncomfortable. But then she storms out after this whole ordeal and starts on a tirade about how men are patronizing and such, and I'm like, are you serious? Did they really have to bury this into the bone? It's not like the first time they've mentioned it either. Throughout the episode, she keeps bringing it up. Now, here's the thing, and I just want to fight fire with fire here. She is the Doctor. No. So, she's been in the past before and knows exactly that when she's in the 1600s or in a specific setting of time, that this is exactly how she's expected to be treated if she's female. Okay, so the regeneration process makes the Doctor a new person, I guess, yeah, but at their core, they're still the Doctor. At least, that's how it was before. Now, in previous episodes, she makes mention of not having bought female clothes in a very long time. That means that there's still a section of her mind that's awake enough to know that she's been other people before. That's usually the process with the Doctor. Even if she's not fully herself because she's in a new body or whatnot, she still at the core knows who the Doctor is. She knows who she is as the Doctor. She's also kept her history in contact. That's why she knows all these aliens and knows the history of certain planets and knows where to travel and how the inner workings of the universe works, because at the core of her essence, she's still the Doctor. At least she's supposed to be, so this stuff should not come as a surprise. Also, if they're trying to rewrite the history of Doctor Who, which I don't agree with, but if they're trying to rewrite it to say that she's been female before, why is she surprised? Why is she talking about patriarchy, and why is she talking about how men are patronizing? Isn't this something that would not come as a surprise to you? So I can't help feeling, and maybe if another female Doctor had played this and she wasn't so vocal about everything else I spoke of in the previous episode, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because that is kind of tied into it, your eyes are open, you're fully conscious as to what's going on, you're obviously going to connect the two. You ready for that awful word? Agenda. Honestly, we're not all the same mind about every single thing, and everything's based on opinion. So while my colleagues actually hated this guy, I actually did like him, and he's what made the episode more interesting. And of course, he totally has the hots for the chocolate guy. It's very interesting that they're touching on the paranoia of people back then, and how people were so readily hostile to things that they just did not understand. So, by the way, if you didn't catch this or I didn't mention it before, this King James is the guy that translated the Christian Bible for the Church of England. The translation started in 1604 and ended or was published in 1611, sorry. Okay, so here's the next thing I don't understand. She knows how paranoid these people are, and she's been in time periods like this before, where people will see things like her toy, the little, I don't want to call it the sonic screwdriver because it really looks like something else. But anyways, her toy is making all these noises and waving it around. You're not thinking that these people are going to think that's a little bit weird, especially when they're accusing someone of just breathing the wrong way, of being possessed by a demon? Of course, King James confronts her about this, and the Doctor finds herself in one of these jammies again. So what I've noticed about the Doctor as well in this situation, I'm not saying the other Doctors have not been in hairy situations such as this before, but it's usually in a more dire situation, not just that of some mere human. But she puts herself in a situation where she's completely vulnerable. The only time she shows herself being the Doctor is when they dunk her on that tree arm and she comes back up having freed herself from the chains. And she says, yes, Houdini taught me a few things. Okay, so that makes sense. But often we find herself in situations where she has to be saved either by her companions or someone else. Or in the case of the Rosa Parks episode, her villain or opponent was just simply not able to kill her. She tries to talk her way out of the situation and win over King James's heart. With all that being said, the Doctor should have pointed out that Becca, was head of this whole operation and killing people. She's a woman that was given a lot of power. I'm sorry, let's move on. The Doctor is dunked. Everything is revealed in the end as Lady Savage having been possessed by Satan. Well, actually, it's not Satan. It's revealed to be the Morax, which is actually an alien race. This woman, Becca Savage, cut down the tree, presumably to get a better view, and the tree had been the thing keeping the Morax contained. As she was cutting down the tree, the aliens implanted themselves in her, or inserted themselves in her, take that however you want it to mean, but as a horrible result, she became infected. Apparently, these aliens use the human bodies to gain mobility and carry out their activities. It's revealed that that's the reason why she was pointing fingers so harshly, because she herself had been infected by it. And after she lets everyone know that she's the witch and she tried very hard to do God's work, she was trying to save herself, this woman was just really, really terrified. And I actually felt really, really bad for her. Her performance here was actually well done. Okay, the woman on the left, though, when it's November and you see something you really like, but you gotta keep your self-will. Oh my god, why do their faces all look like they're enjoying it so much? If this whole part doesn't work out, this woman definitely has a career in comedy. So Becca transforms into the Morax, and they reveal themselves as such. Okay, so to be fair, the Doctor didn't even know what these things were.
Form. Your king shall be filled with our king, and we shall be free to fill all of you.
Well, that sounds very kinky. So the king is taken by the Morax. Jeez, I'm getting a little bit bored.
We will rule this world.
We?
Your body filled with my Morax king.
Oh my gosh, I can't help it. I know it's supposed to be innocent, but then what happens next is just crazy. Oh my word. So Doctor Who comes in to save the day, and she tells the Morax that they cannot have King James and they can't have this planet. Unfortunately, I don't really feel any ounce of strength there when she says that, but nonetheless. Then this scene happens, and I'm sorry, I tried my best. But every time I look at the Doctor trying to be threatening, it just falls flat. You know Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill Bob, whatever that guy's name is? Whenever they're enacted on screen, I believe them. I actually believe that they're creepy and fearful. Hannibal Lecter was a very good character, and he wasn't over the top with the way he spoke, but he creeped you out. He made you feel afraid. When she tries to threaten people, she does it.
Now, please.
Okay, we missed that. Let's hear it again as she threatens the Morax.
Let her rest. And you, Morax, back into your cell now, please.
Really? And you, Morax, back into your cells now, please. What is that? Okay, maybe my memory is a little bit fuzzy, but let me go back and look at some of the older doctors and how they threatened their enemies.
What the hell am I doing? Now you listen here, Doctor. You may have fancy qualifications, but what goes on under my roof is my business.
Not if people are being
I
bundled into...
am talking, and I'm not listening!
Damn! It's not just that. Look at the mannerisms of his face as he was hearing this guy. Dude, look at his face. Look at David Tennant's face right there. You believe that this doctor's pissed off. And when he screamed like that, everyone jumped. They're like, oh, crap. Don't want to be in that room. You know when your parents angry and one of your siblings are in trouble and you can feel the palpable tension in the room to the fact where you just want to get out because you can feel it and you just don't want to be in the crosshairs? That's how I felt with this doctor.
Now you, Mr. Conley, you are staring into a deep, dark pit of trouble if you don't let me help. So I'm ordering you, sir, tell me what's going on.
Now that's the doctor.
Seconds. Colonel Manton, you will give the order for your men to withdraw.
No, Colonel Manton, I want you to tell your men to run away.
What?
Those words, run away. I want you to be famous for those exact words. I want people to call you Colonel Runaway. I want children laughing outside your door because they found the house of Colonel Runaway. And when people come to you and ask if trying to get to me through the people I love.
Even old girl here was like, she had to hiss. Okay, do you not believe me? Let's take a look at another doctor. Now, Peter Capaldi, I absolutely loved him, and even though the ratings were falling during this time, I still believe that he was one of the better doctors. Let's take a look, shall we?
I'll bring Unit, I'll bring the Zygons, give me a minute, I'll bring the Daleks and the Cybermen. You will save Clara, and you will do it now, or I will rain hell on you for the rest of time.
Doctor, stop talking like that. You can't.
I can do whatever the hell I like. You've read the stories. You know who I am. And in all of that time, did you ever hear anything about anyone who stopped me?
Okay, another Capaldi moment.
And we're off! Fingers on buzzers! Are you feeling lucky? Are you ready to play the game? Who's gonna be quickest? Who's gonna be luckiest?
This is not a game!
No, it's not a game, sweetheart, and I mean that most sincerely.
Why are you doing this?
Yes, I'd quite like to know that too. You set this up, why?
Because it's not a game, Kate. This is a scale model of war.
What about Chris Eccleston?
I will talk to the Doctor.
Oh, will you? That's nice. Hello.
The Dalek stratagem nears completion. The fleet is almost ready. You will not intervene.
Oh, really? Why's that then?
We have your associate. You will obey or she will be exterminated.
No.
Explain yourself.
I said no.
So that was Christopher Eccleston, and one more. Let's look at one more moment from David Tennant, and this is the moment we've been waiting for with this doctor, which we fear will never come.
Right then, follow me.
Hang on a minute. Who put you in charge? And who the hell are you anyway?
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous. I'm 903 years old, and I'm the man who's going to save your lives and all 6 billion people on the planet below. You got a problem with that?
No.
In that case, Halsey.
So sexy. And then we have this doctor.
Let her rest. And you, Morax, back into your cell now, please.
What remains? No fear, only power. We will fill your king and kill you all.
Afraid not, Morax. I'm here. I've reactivated the prison. Back you go, King of the Morax.
It's just so weak. Now, if we're going to believe that this doctor is actually the doctor, and this doctor herself, the actor, actually is pushing for a strong female role, then we need to have something more like this. A scene from Vikings of Lagertha.
Your reputation. I was never the usurper, always the usurped.
You took my husband, my world, and my happiness. The fact that you're a woman is neither here nor there. I didn't take your husband. He chose to be with me. He didn't choose. You're a witch.
This is honestly one of the best female characters I have seen in a while. And while she would not be eligible for a doctor role per se, I'm just trying to point out the level of severity and the level of seriousness that these characters have when they try to be intimidating. And Lagertha from the get-go is one of those characters you would not want to piss off in real life. This homewrecker decides that she will renounce the title and ask that she has safe passage. And this is what happens, which is one of the badass moments of a female character.
Thank you.
Now, you may say this is cowardly, but you'd have to see the actual show to understand what's going on.
Duh.
The whole reason for going down that entire process of showing you the other doctors and what intimidation actually looks like on a character that's supposed to be one of the most powerful beings in the universe, and also, respectively, a female character that is believable when they're being intimidated, is to show that this doctor... or intimidating, sorry, is to show that this doctor actually lacks those qualities. She lacks those qualities as the doctor, and she lacks those qualities as a badass female character. It's not me trying to hate on the doctor, it's just the fact of life. If there was a movie Idol or something where people had to vote in the best actress, or a best movie or best TV show, this would not even make the list. This performance by Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor as it stands right now would not even make it past auditions. Now, I will reiterate that there is potential there for her to be the Doctor, for her to become something, but we're in the 8th episode of the 11th season, and I still don't feel anything. I felt that with the other Doctors, even when I tried to hate them. Matt Smith, hated him. David Tennant, even when he came onto the scene, hated him because the Doctors before were so good at what they did that I did not want this stupid new Doctor. And the more I tried to hate them is the more I ended up liking them because they delivered as the Doctor. Now, this is no different. Of course, I loved Peter Capaldi, and yes, I kind of was okay with him coming onto the scene because even though I started liking Matt Smith, I wasn't sold out to him as I was with Chris and David Tennant. But okay, fine. He was actually a really good Doctor. He would not have sold me if he had done a performance like this. I would have been like, bring back Matt Smith, please. So of course, when this Doctor came on, of course, the first thing that I thought, and you can't fault me for this, is that they were doing this for a specific reason other than just trying to pick up the show and make it something more spicy. Even the actress herself said so. I tried to be open-minded, a lot of us try to be open-minded, and we try to watch the show anyway just to see if it would be something with substance, not just this actress playing this role specifically because she's female, but because she's actually good as the Doctor. And she's not. I am sorry. She isn't. She doesn't belong in this role. The companions are very... I like Graham and I like Tosin's character. Yaz doesn't even need to be there. I don't even know why she's there, to be honest. She's a police officer that's she's just there for no reason. There's no reason for her to be there other than to be a checkbox. But honestly, I know a lot of people don't like the characters because there's no substance to either of them. While Tosin and Graham are very likable, there's still no substance to either of them. The only one of the companions that has a little bit of substance is Tosin's character because he has the whole fear thing. We started off with him and we saw that he had some massive insecurities. So we're waiting for them to deliver on those things. But there's so much going on and they're just a supporting role where all of these people are together. The Doctor's their best friend and this is the Rugrats, and each of them don't have a specific screen time designated to building their character personalities. It seems as though everyone just falls away to the wayside. So he's not developed. They started developing in one of the later seasons, one of the later episodes, and they brought back up his fear of heights or him trying to get over stuff, and then they just let it die. There's really nothing else. And it's understandable because there's so much going on. The Doctor doesn't know who she is, and they're supposed to be bolstering the Doctor. The Doctor can't stand on her own as the Doctor. Like, if she didn't have her companions, she probably would have been dead a long time ago. So, the verdict about this episode, it was one of the better episodes in terms of the aliens. Another thing that I did have an issue with is the storytelling aspect. While I do like the concept a lot, the aliens coming down and them posing as demons, even though it has been something that's been said before, there seems to be a lot of, how do I say this, repetition or redundancy in the dialogue. As though the people who are watching the show are presumed to be stupid or children, which is very odd. Becca's performance was okay. I liked her character. I do like King James' character. I enjoy both of them very much. Honestly, when you find yourself liking the characters more than the actual Doctor, there's a problem there. Usually in past situations, I like a character almost as much as I like the Doctor, or as much as I like the Doctor, but I've never ever hit upon a circumstance where I liked a character or someone who played a minuscule role and liked them more than I like the Doctor. It's very weird. It's not even that his acting was that great either. The Doctor just sucks. Anyways, that's just my recap. Honestly, I fell asleep near the end 10 minutes of the episode and I had to wake up and watch it again because it was just kind of boring. I mean, the concept was nice, but the acting and the performance of the Doctor, it's boring. It feels like I'm watching 4 school children that are going on an adventure in Narnia or something. It doesn't feel like the powerful Doctor has 3 companions and is taking them on a journey. She doesn't feel like the Doctor. She just feels like their sister. Now, sorry, this was a little bit rambly. Of course, this was just off the top of my head, how I felt fresh from having seen it. And I know that there's still a lot of fans of the show, diehard fans that are blind to what is going on. I'm kidding, I'm not trying to offend anyone. At least, I don't really care if I offend anyone. I'm just telling the truth. The show sucks, okay? Let's just put it out there. It sucks. In comparison to the other Doctor Who episodes, even the other seasons that had their bad episodes here and there, we've had more so bad episodes and bad writing with this series than we've had with the others. And this is the worst Doctor that I have seen. There, I put it out there. And it has nothing to do with her being female. It has to do with the actor. It has to do with the writing. Another thing that a colleague pointed out to me, remember the David Tennant episode that I just showed you in that clip where he was talking about being the Doctor and being over 900 years old and whatnot? There is something missing in the show, and he said that the music, it's not just the writing, it's the presentation of when the Doctor's making her speeches. They're just thrown on the table without any sense of pride of putting it together. Just someone saying something as though you were sitting across the room and they were talking to you. Not someone coming in and there being swelling music, because music is a very big part of trying to sell the character of someone. Of course, 90% of that has to be the person's character, but the other 10% has to be presentation of that character. And in that scene with David Tennant, when he was telling people he was a doctor, listen to it again. The music was swelling. The camera was zooming in. There was that parallax motion of that dolly movement that was going on with the background. Everything was making you focus on the Doctor. And even the people reacting to the Doctor, the other characters, the supporting roles, were taken aback and gasping in admiration. They were all speechless because he was intimidating them. He was inspiring them all at the same time. Things that this Doctor has failed to do in this season. Anyways, guys, let us know your comments below. I know that there is a mixed audience of what you guys think, and just because we don't agree on everything doesn't mean we still don't want to hear your perspectives. This isn't an echo chamber. We would like to hear every perspective. With that being said, thanks for watching. This has been El Tiori. You ask, we answer.